Hi, welcome to Balloon Tips with Chris. Today we will be discussing what are some of the things I consider while preparing a quote. And in the meantime, you can watch me unpack my latest order and put it into storage containers. The first thing I consider while preparing a quote is the location and logistics of being able to seamlessly arrive and unload the balloons and my equipment. For instance, is it in a residential neighborhood on a quiet road, which would make the level easy? Or is it in a loft in downtown Manhattan, which would make the level hard? I suggest basing this fee on the size of the job first. For example, is it 10 feet of garland or is it 40? This will vary greatly. I have never had two of the exact same jobs in my 2 years of experience, even when they are at repeat location. It's important to ask yourself, what will it cost me to get it there? The second thing I consider is the distance traveled there and back. I suggest $1 per mile round trip as a standard practice, especially if you have already purchased your own truck for your business. The third thing I consider is, will you need to go back for breakdown and or retrieval of any stands that you will use? This should be a separate fee. Figure out your cost of traveling to do so plus your time. The fourth thing I consider while preparing the quote is my rate per footage, which is entirely based on my expenses and my time. I have yet to find two balloon artists who charge the exact same amount. I think the important thing is finding out what it costs you in balloons per foot and what you are willing to accept for your time to do so. So to recap, per foot is your time plus costs to complete that 1 foot of balloon garland. The fifth thing I consider while preparing a quote is installation fee. This is separate from your footage rate fee, which we just discussed in number 4. Installation fee is for your time spent installing the balloons on site the day of. I personally charge $100 an hour for installation, with 1 hour being the minimum rate regardless if I finish before the 1 hour mark. So to recap the things that I consider while preparing a quote, first is location and logistics. Second is distance traveled there and back. Third, will you need to go back for breakdown and or retrieval? Fourth, your rate per footage. And number 5, your installation fee. So my last and final tip from me, Chris, is to know your worth. How do I do that, you ask? You should have a minimum amount that you will leave your house for. My personal minimum is $350 before installation fees, because I find that whether the job is 10 foot of garland or 40, the time spent planning is not that much different. The emails back and forth, mock-ups, placing balloon orders, on-site visits for measurements, experimenting with custom colors at home, finalizing plans, and sending the invoice to the client. These parts typically take the same amount of time for each job. And it's not easy to do when you have a dozen or more installations in the works at a time. I learned this all too well in 2020. I felt that I needed to reply to every inquiry, every DM, every comment, message, phone call, text message, email, and I burned out. What I did find to be different for each job, after the invoice is sent to the client, is the actual prep time, the manual The manual labor part, the blowing up of the balloons, traveling the day of, and your time spent on site installing. These parts will all vary greatly per job. So yeah, that's it for today. Know your costs, know your worth and time, and know your limits so you do not burn out. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments, and I will try my best to help you out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate every single one of you. Wait till the end to see the end result of my packaging into storage containers. Until next time.